remember back to the previous game when player 1 set off that powerful chain.
Yes,
that 2
yeah,
chain.
yep, that's
the
right.
kind of thing you want to try and do. But you also need to hope that they get the wrong piece and you catch them off guard. Because that technique, though it is rigid and it can be buried quite easily with a quick harassment,
Yep, sure.
you've still got the advantage of you're already 3 Puyos high. If it goes to the fourth Puyo, then what happens is, okay, I need to dig deeper in order to get there.
Right.
To finish off the chain. So if you think about it, if you've got your 3 up and then you hit with 18 garbage and 3 rows are filled, you're still not completely out of it because you can still build a chain that way to force a colour in to set the rest of the chain off.
Yes, so there are still ways around it.
Yes, there are.
Which means, that, well, I guess that effectively makes it just quite solid in most situations, because what you're effectively saying is that even if someone counters with some harassment straight away, there are still ways to make the original plan work. You might have been delayed, but you haven't necessarily been stopped.
Yes, that's right.
So what happens then when 2 pros go at it? That must be quite something to watch.
It is. Margin time effectively multiplies that amount of garbage sent. So if you have good players go up against it, a match can last 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But the moment margin time kicks in and goes all the way, even a single chain, like erasing just 4 Puyos, can send enough garbage to take your opponent out.
To effectively take them out straight away.
It's Puyo's equivalent of hurry up in Tetris.
Exactly. And I mean, it'll get to a point where you effectively end up with sudden death.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're not really in a situation where it can. And to be fair, if you remember the speeds at which we saw the pros going kind of ham, to be honest, games 1 and 3 in particular. 2 or 3 minutes is a very, very long time in this game.
I mean, I remember one time actually streaming for Puyo Day. I was up against one of the best Japanese players, and we had one game where I thought I was dead in the water, but until, this is my golden rule, until the 3rd column from the left is filled up to the top, you are still in the game. Do what you can to dig, because you can dig for victory. And it goes the same for Tetris as well.
And how long did that end up lasting?
That lasted just under 2 minutes, and I come back with a clutch.
Oh, I'm going to go home and look that up now, is basically what's going to happen.
I'll have to upload it to my Twitter.
Yes, please do. All right, so it looks like it looks like we have 3 players this time around.
Okay, 3 players it is.
Possibly because we, to even out the numbers, we may have, I'm guessing, a couple of groups of 3.
Yeah.
So that we don't end up with one group with 2 or something like that, which makes sense.
All right, let's have a look then.
Here we go, and it's all it's 100% Puyo this time around.
It's still Puyo affair. Puyo fans rejoice. I'm sure you will.
And so this is new to me, because I played Tetris years and years. How much of this is, you know, setting the chains off, just the 1 and 2 chains off really quickly, versus how much of this is actually build up? So I'm looking at player 2, for example, wondering how I'm going to be able to find those 4 or 5 chains, and just slowly learning what the patterns would actually look like. Well, not spotting anything so far, though.
No. What seems to be the case is they're just trying to learn how to feel for the grid. Now you can see, oh, that's a good 2 chain. So you see the amount of Puyos that were erased. Oh, and there again with that single chain.
Yes,
so
that was, wow, that's a lot of garbage that just got sent across.
I mean, that's just with 8 Puyos and 2 groups.
Yeah, trying to read this at speed is, I mean, I'm hurting already, to be honest.
Well, it's a 2 chain.
There's another 2 chain.
From
Well,
player
3
is in a tight spot at this moment in time.
No, there's it. Quickly. Unfortunately, there goes player 3.
Oh,
player 1 not out of it yet.
No.
People have come back from worse, but
that's okay. You see.
Oh, that's
no,
less
okay. It's okay. All right. He just needs to get the blues down in there now. Oh, he can rotate. Yep.
Ooh. That was very close to not working at all. Just about so. But look at the kind of advantage that player 2 has built up now. This is no garbage at all, looking fairly comfortable at this point.
Yep. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit on player 1's screen. You see where the greens are cupped around that purple?
Yep.
Well, it might be buried with garbage, which is unfortunate, but that is quite something to have. But I don't know if they're going to be able to dig through to use that to their advantage.
Oh, and they didn't manage to connect the purples, unless you're building something incredible.
Tell you what, I'd say the greens look a better bet for player 2. Yeah, the greens. That's it, 70 for 12, 40 for 16. That's a free chain. So player 2 goes 1-0 up.
Took a little while to finish player 1 off, and player 2 didn't look completely comfortable by the end of that. Slowly starting to fill up, but I think the advantage that he'd built up by that point was just too large. So early days at the moment, I remember seeing those combos from player 2 early on. It looks like a similar strategy is in force now, deliberately leaving one of those columns empty and looking for the right opportunity.
Yes, indeed. It seems to be some kind of like weird stairs pattern, almost a complete truncation. Having said that, they've got a 2 chain set up. Yep, okay.
Oh, and here comes the here comes the first lot of garbage. So player 2 now starting to see his plans come to fruition just a little bit.
Indeed. It seems that player 3 is trying to find some reds. At the moment, the RNG is not obliging.
Just the 1-2 chain so far, though. Oh, hang on.
Oh, that might be a
too
free.
soon?
Yep, the blues match. That's
there
a free chain. So that's 15 garbage sent over.
Oh, my God. That looks devastating for player 1.
Yes, player 1 is in a bit of a pickle at this moment in time.
Oh, I can't quite get anything to connect there as well. More garbage being sent his way. I think player 1 is a very quickly...
Oh, that's a really dangerous place. That's a really dangerous place. Oh! When you're dicing with death at the top, there's only one winner, and it's not likely going to be you.
Exactly. Player 3 hanging on now, but...
Oh, player 3 might have something. It depends on whether they're able to utilise the yellows with the blues there. Oh, not with that power chain. That's going to be curtains.
Oh, Jesus! That was like an instant KO going on there.
Yeah, well, he was already 9 Puyo spaces up.
And that means that player 2.
Player 2 advances.
So we've had all of our games so far with 2-0 sweeps. So well done there to player 2.
Yep.
And as a direct result, we now have 3 finalists moving in. I suspect we're going to have at least one more group of players coming on in. That was
interesting, to say the least.
It was. It was good for me as well to be able to see player 2 slowly start to build things up. And the second game, we only had the 1-2 chain to kickstart things, but it eventually got back in the groove.
Yeah.
What as a new player, especially maybe the people who have played Tetris, who are watching Puyo for the first time, what was happening with player 2 there, and what kind of patterns can we look for to replicate that sort of basic technique?
Well, what player 2 was trying to do was trying to build columns, similar to what the previous game did with the Klug player. Where he built the columns up in the stairs formation.
Right, but from right side.
Yeah,
from
right side back. From right side back. Sometimes it's very difficult if you can't visualize these patterns in your mind. It's very difficult to translate that onto the gaming grid.
Of course.
And so, what we saw from player 2 was, I think I can do this. Is this right? Is this the right way to go about it? But actually, even though they've only just started playing, and you can see that they've only just started playing, there was one instance where they had the blues and the yellows, I think it was the yellows, and they had the 2 chain that they could just set off either by using the blues or by using the
Yes, I remember
yellows.
that. You mentioned that. Yeah, that's right.
That's actually a really professional technique to use. I mean, they might have put that down accidentally, but if you have a second trigger, you can effectively still set your main chain off.
Right, and that comes back, I guess, a similar technique to what you were talking about before, about almost having that insurance policy, so that you can still set the chain off that you were looking to go, even if your opponent puts something in your way.
Yes, that's right. The whole point with building chains in Puyo is you want to protect your main chain, but you need to also be able to consolidate should you see your opponent think, oh, I think I can catch you off guard. So you need to be able to play.
You need to have the backup plan.
Yeah, you need to play attacking and defensive at the same time.
And that to me is just such a weird concept as someone who grew up playing Tetris on his Game Boy. There's no attacking and there's no defending. It's this is Tetris. What on earth are you talking about?
Well, I grew up playing Mean Bean Machine on the Sega Mega Drive, so you know.
This is a completely different ball game. It's very strange talking about these kind of competitive concepts.
Indeed, and you know this game shouldn't work. You know, Puyo and Tetris are completely incompatible with one another, and it shouldn't work. But yet, strangely, it does.
Kind of does. Yeah, this is
does
great.
In a real strange way. And we've already seen, like, for those of you that watch like the Japanese players play, whether it's the Red Bull 5G events or you know other tournaments of that ilk, ilk, you get some really good matches, and hopefully we'll be able to put on a good show for you, especially in the finals. As we say, we've got 3 finalists through, we've got 1 more yet to decide.
That's exactly right. So we're going to be seeing... I don't know if the finals will end up being the first one to 3 wins rather than the first one to 2. I'd certainly like to see a little bit more where that came from. Some of these matches are just over so quickly.
Yeah,
that it's
really
impressive.
the gulf. Yeah, it's really the gulf between the pro players and the players that are just starting out. Now, obviously, as you know, I'm part of Poo Poo GB, the UK community. We're here to help nurture grassroots and intermediate players make it up to the pro leagues and the pro levels.
You're saying you can make me as good as a pro?
Yes.
I'll take you up on that.
You saw it here first, folks.
There are going to be some streams which people will not want to watch. It's just going to be me repeatedly screwing up now. That's what's going to happen.
Well,
we'll
give
it
it
a go.
on that.
We'll work on it for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. But in the meantime, of course, we have one more person to see through into a final.
We do.
How many people have... I think we've only had 1 Tetris player through to the final so far,
yes.
right? 1 Tetris and 2 Puyo. So can we make it a 2 and 2?
I don't know. It depends on who's in and what modes they play, I guess.
And of course, we have some of the Puyo players who are perfectly happy playing the Tetris side of things as well.
Well, they don't have to worry with Amamir Tayo or Heber Ismail, or any of the top players like Blink as well. So
they should.
Sailing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see. So reasonable group of competitive-looking people now taking their seats. Once again, we're going to have a 3 people contesting this particular match to get our 4th player into the final.
All right.
So I'm not noticing anything particularly similar to Game 2, for example. No one stacking up on one side. Maybe Player 1 to a small extent.
No, Player 3 is actually using a technique called key. Now, as you can see here, you've got the yellows and the reds.
Yep. On the left, yep.
He's just calculating. I mean, that's fine. So yellows to reds, reds to yellows, yellows to purples, purples to greens.
Got
that's
it,
what you can see here.
1,
Player 2 with
2,
an all clear.
3. Oh, wow. Well, that came out of left field. We were busy looking at Player 3, and then it's quite clear they weren't the player to watch. What happened there? Oh, my dear God.
But the 6 chain's more than enough to see the back of them. It's all well and good trying to go for the all clear.
What just happened?
Well, it's all well and good trying to go for the all clear, but if you don't have a backup chain...
That was ridiculous. Someone just input the cheat codes. That is absolutely... What?
That was good play, actually, from Player 3.
Player 2 was minding his own business. You see an all clear and you think, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. And then suddenly, out of left field.
Good small harassment there from Player 2. Oh, there could have been an all clear opportunity from Player 1. That's such a shame. Okay, Player 2 coming back in. Sorry, Player 3 coming back into the fold.
That was an incredible finish to game number 1. I was not expecting it at all. Player 1 trying to stay in. A reasonable amount of garbage on their screens now. Player 3's got his fair share as well, to be fair.
Oh, Player 3's been blocked off a little bit. You need to be very careful not to isolate yourself by stacking 1 too high.
And you can see the garbage there just preventing Player 3 from getting those chains off.
Don't be so... Oh, okay, that's fine. It's a 2 chain. As I say, don't be so sure, because if you look at the garbage where the reds are now...
Yep.
If that red was still there... That could have gone very well for a step chain, as we call them, where you use the garbage to your advantage.
Right. Player 2 now in a bit of trouble. That's an awful lot of grade to have to deal with.
Yeah, Player 2's got a lot of garbage puyos to try and negotiate through. Player 3 seems to have doubled down quite nicely. That's not really going to work there, mind you, having said that.
Player 2 goes down. After such a promising start to game number 1. So Player 3 has an opportunity now to try and take this 2-0.
Oh, don't be so sure.
If Player 1 can find his way out. Oh, and that's a good start.
Yeah, even little chains.
This could turn. This is going to end up being very close if he keeps up like that.
Just needs to go for the kill switch now. Oh, the yellows are there. Oh, no, wait, hang on.
3 chain from Player 1.
It's all right. It's a power 4. That's going to send... Oh! 63 garbage on the backswing, and Player 3 takes it 2-0.
Just after you think a comeback might actually be possible, that was definitely a strong knockout blow.
That was a very good match, actually. Had to consolidate that, as you saw in that play. Had to consolidate the fact that, so, okay, my main chain's been blocked off. How do I get to a backup plan?
And that's what we were talking about before. It's so important to have that backup plan in place. Otherwise, a reasonably good player suddenly loses very quickly.
That's right.
So that means we have got all 4 of our players through to the final. So I presume we'll be getting them ready to come up with a grand final very, very soon.
Indeed.
And the winner of that gets £500 of Logitech gear. That's
I mean,
quite
that's a lot of gear, isn't it, folks?
If you've been following the stream and you have a particular player that you're particularly interested in following, because I suspect the Puyo players know exactly who's on screen at any one time, do make sure you reach out to us on social media.